All right, so you probably heard that. Welcome to Davita's Stampin' Spot. We're trying something new. It's Monday night at 7, and thank goodness I remembered. After forgetting last week, I kept telling Kent, don't let me forget, don't let me forget. But he's still taking good medicine for that shoulder surgery, so he wasn't a lot of help. But hey, I made it. We're on, and I got a few comments letting me know that you're watching. Now my comments went away. So let's see if I can find them again. We're going to make a card tonight that isn't necessarily probably something that you're going to go, oh, wow, I've never seen that before. But sometimes I see a design and I look at it and think, you know, I haven't done that in ages. I wish I would have remembered that, or boy, that's a good reminder. So this is a layout that I use quite frequently, honestly, so that left. There we go. Okay. So Chris, Misty, great. Misty, you can see my workspace. Good. Okay. So I went to Monday evenings. I have the honor of being on the Demonstrator Council, and we typically, well, it was supposed to be one Tuesday night a month, but it's been several Tuesday nights a month. So I moved from Tuesdays. I tried the 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. That didn't work so well. So now we're going to try Mondays at 7 and hope that I get my ducks in a row so that I'm ready on Monday nights. So the card we're making, as I was saying, is not one that you're just going to go, oh, I've never seen it before. But I just want to show you how quickly you can make a card that isn't just a plain, simple, normal fold. So I have a piece of cardstock. This is our normal size, 5.5 by 8.5. I'm going to grab our paper score and I'm going to score it at 2 1/8. So let me hold this up close. If you have the Stampin' score, it is the line just past the 2, because it does eighths and then a quarter, an eighth, a half, an eighth, 3/4. Okay. When I first started, I wasn't real confident with these markings that were not straight on the line. And then we're going to come over and we're going to, I always flip it around just because it's easier for me. And we're going to do 2 1/8 again. Now by doing that, we're going to make it a fold so that these pieces meet directly in the middle. Grab my bone folder here and we'll fold this. So my first question for you tonight is that recently I have found that when I need a color, I quite often I'm grabbing pale papaya. When these colors first came out, that would have probably been one of the colors I would have said, no, that's not going to be one I use very often. So my question to you is, what color do you grab most frequently these days? If you're getting ready to make a card, what color do you find that you're drawn to? I'll be anxious to see what you say. So we're going to fold it in half. Then I have a black piece of paper and you're working along with me, I hope. So the first thing I did was I decided I wanted to add some texture to the right side. So I'm going to spray it with some water, just a little bit. And the reason you do that is it breaks down the fibers in your paper so that when you run it through with an embossing folder, you get a much deeper, richer groove. And the embossing folder I'm using is the hybrid from the Art in Bloom. And I hadn't used this until I did this card. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. So you're going to lay it inside. Now you want just the flap. And keep in mind, there's a little bit of a space here. So if you just line it up on the edge, you're going to end up with a blank spot here. So place it. So, and the reason I scored it was so I know right where that's going to be. I'm going to line up that score line on the image there. And then I'm going to close it. And Stampin' Up! Started adding this black line across the bottom of the hybrid folder, or not hybrid, all of the folders, so that you can make sure your paper's straight. Then you're going to put it on just the regular platform base, and you're going to turn it this way so that it goes through. And then you're going to use number 4. 4 is for the embossing folders for the deep, rich look. Oh, Marie, yours is Old Olive. Okay, cool. What some of the others? What do you use? What's your go-to color these days? Now I know it changes with the seasons a little bit too, but then we run the Big Shot. Now I didn't want you to have to wait on me, so I went ahead and did one ahead of time. So look at that deep, deep, deep image. Isn't that gorgeous? So that's going to be on the right-hand side. So I'm trying not to be what I call plain Jane. I tend to want to just use very simple patterns, and I don't mix a lot of papers, and trying to step out a little bit and do things a little bit differently. So I am using Quiet Meadow. I'm guessing you probably chose, hopefully you chose a stamp set that has a long image on it. I like this one, and to be honest, had not used it. And I need a couple sympathy cards, two different people, one a very, very close friend and another person that I'm really enjoying get to know, both lost a family member in the last 2 weeks. And so this heartfelt love and caring thoughts are with you, I thought would be good with the thinking of you. So I'm going to use this kind of textured one up here. And I was watching Donna Gray in Australia, and I met her on the cruise and have enjoyed connecting with her. Every once in a while, she'll hop on my Facebook Lives. And the other day she did something and I went, oh, that is so smart. Why didn't I think of that? So now I think I've shown you before to take the label and put it on your clear block so that you can see through it like that. Okay. And what I've been doing recently is then taking this, trying to line it up and putting it over the top. She's even smarter than that. So if you take your stamp and turn it over, and I need to make sure I have this the right way. Yep. Okay. Turn that. Then if you go this direction, because you can see through here, you can line this up perfectly. Look at that. Isn't that slick? So cool. Such an easy little different way to do it, but I really like how much easier it is to line it up straight because I always struggle with that. All right, back to our card. Hopefully you've had time to pick your embossing folder and you've run it through your embossing. Hey Lois, you're joining late. That's all right. We're glad you're here. We took our card base and we scored it at 2 1/8 in from each side. So we have the center where they meet in the center. I think they call it a gatefold. I was thinking of that while I was waiting. Okay, so I've got my pale papaya because I don't want it to be too drastic of an image. I'll make sure I have it the right way. Now, first, I just kind of went and lined it up perfectly like this. And then I realized I didn't really like that because it looked like it was going to be the same thing all the time. So I decided to come over this way and just go back and forth between the two, just kind of hit it in different spots. Now you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, she forgot. She's stamping on the inside here. I'm going to put a piece of white paper there, so it's not going to matter. And did I figure that out the first time? Nope. It wasn't until I was figuring out my thing for tonight that I went, oh, I'm going to cover it up so it doesn't matter. So I kept trying to flip back and forth, and much easier this way. So just randomly stamp some kind of image down that side just to give it some variation. Now, when I did this the first time, I kind of had these openings here too that I didn't really like. So then I just came back, and granted this is light, but it's just adding just a little bit in between there. Give it just a little bit more. Like that. Okay. So now my two sides are going to meet up. I've got one textured on this side and some stamping on this side. So now your white piece is 2.5 by 5. We're going to turn it the long way. All right. And I'm going to stamp these beautiful flowers in black. I have found that when I have a long image like this or a big one, I do better if I turn the stamp upside down and put the ink on that way instead of going the other direction. I have found when I go the other direction, before you stamp, I am going to put a little greeting up here at the top. So keep that in mind. If you want to put a greeting at the bottom or the top, you want to adjust. And if not, you're going to want to put it right in the middle. So back to my ink. If I do it this way in ink, it seems like in the middle, I end up with it terribly dark. I don't get as even. And you can even take this and kind of just swipe it. Just gently brush it back and forth. And what that does is it gets just the raised parts so that you don't get extra globs. I'm sure none of you ever get extra globs. I'm going to do a second one just to show you how I just brushed it side to side like that. How nicely that works. See how pretty that is? And you see I did get a little heavy up there, and you can still see it here. I did just a little too heavy on that. All right, so we've got our flowers stamped. Close up my ink. All right, I'm going to go back to this, and I'm actually going to wait just a minute and make sure that's nice and dry. So I'm going to grab my, I didn't bring up my inside piece. Well, hang on just a minute. I need to cut mine. We have a team meeting this weekend, and so I've been working on stuff for that and grabbing paper and supplies. Let's see here. There we go. So the inside, I almost always do 4.5 or 4 inches by 5 1/4. And that just gives you 1/4 of an inch border on these. All right, there we go. So while I'm waiting to make sure that black is nice and dry, I am going to stamp my flower. So I chose for the inside to do this flower here. That seems so far away today. Huh. Okay, I'm going to use pale papaya. So Marie told me she uses old olive. Nobody else has told me what color is their go-to color these days. I admitted mine was pale papaya, which is really strange for me. And those of you that know me probably would have guessed fresh freesia, which I do use that one quite frequently too. I've kind of been on this pale papaya kick. All right, so now I've got this little flower and he needs the sticker as well. So while you're stamping your image, I am going to put my flower on. Same thing again. I'm going to put the sticker on the clear block. Goodness. And then I lined this up so it's straight. So I want to do pretty much the same thing here, hopefully. This over. Yep, there we go. All right, so I'm trying something different. I don't normally do this, but I thought it might be fun to give it a try. I'm going to stamp. Oh, guess what I did? I pushed too hard. I won't name names, but I know there's somebody on this call that does the same thing quite frequently. I'm not going to say this. And it's probably because she does what I do. I do it way too often. I push just a little too hard. All right, there we go. And then I thought it would be really different and fun to put my greeting up here for the inside of the card so that then I can write my friend's name there and I'd have some space to write to what I want to write to her. Now, if you're sending this to somebody that you don't want to write a lot, then you'd want to put it in the middle and take up a lot of space. But I want to be able to share quite a bit with her. So that's what I'm going to do for the inside. And then I grabbed my blends, and this is light pale papaya. And I just wanted to emphasize just a little bit the beautiful images of this flower. And they kind of gave us the idea for the coloring. So if you're a customer and you're watching this, I'm starting new clubs this month. And one of the benefits of joining the club this month is that a good friend of mine is someone that colors with alcohol markers a lot, and she's going to come and do a class for my club members. So keep that in mind and think about it if you want to join. I'd love to have you. All right, so I went back with the dark. I don't like that as well. And now I kind of wish I'd have just stuck with the light. But you know how it is. Once you kind of make a mistake, then you got to kind of play with it. So I'll probably just color the whole thing in. I love coloring with blends. One of my demonstrators contacted me today and she's excited. She's talking to a new customer, potential new customer. And so one of the things you want to ask is, do they like to color? Because if they like to color, then they're going to want the open images. And if they don't, they're going to want ones that are more solid. All right, so our black should be done now. I'm going to go back to that. Okay, I'm going to color again, and this time the sample I took this from, I think I told you that. I've been trying to pull swaps that I've pulled off for years, making new samples with them, and then putting those swaps in the pile to give away to customers. And this was one of the designs that was in that pile. And I saw it, it was like, oh, that's perfect. And they just colored just the flowers and didn't color the greenery. I'm gonna color in the greenery. Oops. All right. I'm using soft sea foam. This is another color that when it first came out, I wasn't drawn to it. So it is such a fabulous color to mix in with others. So I don't want to do a whole bunch. I just want to add a little bit of color so the person knows that the greenery was green. Then I took the pale papaya ribbon and I'm going to put it around the base of the flower so that my flowers come with the ribbon. So I'm playing with this Quiet Meadows. Is there a stamp set that you've played with just recently that you just are falling in love with? You're just having a ball making different cards with it, or scrapbook pages, or 3D items? In the comments, tell me, what is it that you're using right now that you're having a lot of fun with? Okay, so I took a little strip and just tied a knot and put that over the top. And I'm going to use my liquid glue and adhere it to a strip of black. And the black is 2 3/4 by 5 1/4. All right, hopefully you're keeping up with me. And I hope I see your cards when we get done. Because most of you haven't been very good about sharing your patterns with me and your ideas. I love seeing what you create. Now, this is probably the trickiest part of the card. Don't put glue on the whole back. You only want to put it on half. And I have found the easiest way to help people do that is to grab the tear tape right here. And I put tape in 2 places. So I put it on the card front, right on this edge, like that. And I lay this on top. I know this is the side I want, and I'm going to put some on this side. That way you don't have to worry about adhesive in the wrong place, or that you go too far over on the edge, or you don't get far enough and it doesn't stick. If I'm doing a fun fold and I know people might be opening, I use tear tape so that I make sure it stays in place. All right, well, Marie, you've only been the brave person to tell me what color you go to these days. I was curious to see whether, well, here, I'll tell you in a sec. All right, so now you're gonna line this up so that it's gonna look nice and even on both sides, like that. Okay, back. You know what, that flower turned out pretty good after all, considering. All right, so I'm going to ink that up and put that on the inside. And see, by putting that tear tape on the way I did, I don't have to worry about having excess adhesive that came onto the inside of the card. I don't have to worry about it squishing over here, and it just lines up really nice. Now I'm noticing that this is just a tad, it's just catching just a little bit. So what I'm going to do is grab my trimmer, and I'm just going to hit the display. I'm just going to trim off just a tiny bit so that it lines up better. And when you do embossing folders, sometimes you do get just a little bit different edge. So adjust for that. So there we go. Now that lines up a lot better. And I wanted to add just a little bit of bling. So I grabbed my rhinestones. And since almost everything on this card has been the pale papaya, I grabbed my pale papaya blends and I colored 3. Remember, when you do accessories, you like to do them in odd numbers. Why that's wrong? Don't know, just know that's one of the rules. I'm going to grab my paper piercer. It looks like I'm just pushing it on the table. Oh, I forgot my greeting. No wonder that looked funny to me. Oh dear, now I gotta be brave and try to stamp this and hope I don't mess up. Okay, so I'm gonna put thinking of you up here at the top. All right, now that looks better. Didn't figure out why I had all that empty space. So I'm going to put one of the rhinestones there, one here, and I think right there. And there you go, a fun fold. But if you do the 2 1/8 on each side, that's all the work there is to creating the fun fold. And then you just have your piece on the front. You can do a punch and do a lot smaller piece here. And of course you can adjust this piece for whatever size images you want. So I hope you will take the time to take a picture of what you create and show me. I've been challenging people to do that for weeks, and I think I've only had 2 people show. So be brave. I'd love to see it, and I know everyone else would too. They would love to see your creations. So I want to give you a quick reminder about a couple events. I did have to move my club technology, you can tell I was at school today, club technique class to this Thursday. I'm going to do it at 3:30 and 7. If you can join me, I would love to have you join me. What I will do is I'm going to show you, I think it's 8 different ways that you can add color to our stamps or for leaves or emboss resist. I've just pulled these 3 so you could see them. This is a twist on Jacob's coat. Instead of using the black, I used soft suede, so it just kind of has a leathery look to it. And then that's emboss resist. And then we're going to make this fun card, and it does all the spring seasons. So there's spring, summer, fall, and winter. And then it stands up. I think it's really fun. So again, that's this Thursday at 3:30 and at 7. I do have people signed up for both of those, but I have space So if you'd like to join me, please do. Remember Stamp Camp sign up November 6th, and my cards in conversation. Watch for a live in the next couple days. I'm just going to hop on and show you one of the card kits to give people an idea of what they are, because it's always hard to know what they are by just words. So I want to show you. So there's Create With Me week number 7. I hope you enjoyed it. And I wouldn't be surprised at all that maybe you've done this in the past and you probably went, I haven't thought about doing that in a while. So hopefully you will. I forgot to show you my envelope. So for the envelope, I stamped the big flower and then partial there. And then I took the little one and did it there. Thanks for joining me. I will plan to be on again next Monday at 7. And instead of it being Create With Me, I will be sharing either a product, a technique, or something like that. So thanks for joining me today. Melissa, she's been using soft succulent. Julie, thank you. You like to keep cards. Julie likes Highland Heather. I love purple. And Chris, you're having trouble picking a favorite color? Yeah, I can relate to that. All right. Oh, it was so nice to have your comments today. And it was so nice that it worked and I could be heard and I didn't have to redo everything. It feels like a very successful Monday now. Thank you so much for joining me. I will see you next Monday at 7:30. And I can't wait to see what you created with my ideas for Create With Me week 6. Have a great week. Bye, guys.